Hello children, class 11. Today's topic is about chapter 18, body fluid and circulation. Now in this chapter we are going to study about the two major body fluids in human body. Obviously we are going to study about the blood and lymph in this part. So blood is one of the very important body fluid in human being, and along with that there is another body fluid called the lymph. Now before going in details about this chapter, let me tell you what are the parts that we are going to learn in this chapter. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the blood, its composition, and lymph, function of blood, function of lymph. Then we will study about the types of circulation in various organisms like single circulation and double circulation. We will study here about the different type of heart in the fish, amphibian, reptile and mammal. Then in this chapter we are also going to study about the various type of corpuscles or the formed elements present in the blood that generally floats in the plasma. As well as we will study about the blood group here. We will study about ABO blood group, Rh antigen and the erythroblastosis fetalis, which is another subtopic from the Rh blood group. We will study about the various type of blood-borne diseases and the disorders of the blood group, and then we are finally studying about the heart, its structure, its function, and double circulation finally, and disorder of the various type of functions of heart. So this is about the entire chapter. Now first let me begin with the introductory part of this chapter. We all know that a cell during metabolism produces some useful component as well as some harmful component. So you see, the body or a cell during the metabolism produces some useful components and some harmful component as well. Okay. Now both these useful component and harmful component are metabolized in the cell. So harmful components are released as a byproduct which are accumulated in the cell, and the useful components need to be transported to other cells of the body that are required in the cells. Now for that, you see here, the useful component need to be transported to other cells where it is required, and for that a medium is required, and that medium is blood. While the harmful components, it should be removed from the body unless it will toxify the body or it will add much of toxicity in the body cells. For that, these harmful components need to be excreted out. So this useful component and harmful components both are transported by the various tissue fluid. That is, the blood is one of the carrier. That is a fluid medium of the body that transport this useful as well as harmful component the respective site where it is required or need to be excreted out respectively. Now you see, in case of the porifera or the coelenterata, those who are very simple type of organisms. So in these type of organisms, you know, you have already read in the other chapter about these organisms in the diversity part, where you need to know that these coelenterata and porifera, these organisms, they are in direct contact with the surrounding, and generally they are aquatic in nature. So in this type of organisms, they do not have a blood or a tissue fluid like we have, because we are much complex organisms and we are multicellular organisms. Though they may be multicellular in nature, but their organization of the body is very simple. So in that cases, you see, the surrounding water medium is transported directly in the body cavity in these organisms, and this body cavity of these organisms exchange the surrounding food and gases from the surrounding water medium into the body. So in that cases, they do not have the requirement of any blood or the tissue fluid like we, the most organized or most complex organisms, possess. So this is about the importance of blood or a carrier molecule in the complex organisms like human being. Now this blood that we are talking about in this chapter, this blood is a fluid connective tissue. Why it is fluid connective tissue? Why it is called fluid? because it flow through the blood vessels, right? Now this fluid connective tissue, the matrix is fluid in nature. The matrix of the blood is fluid in nature, right? Now in this matrix, fluid matrix, the matrix of the blood that composed of the plasma and the formed elements that are present in this plasma. So the formed elements are mainly the corpuscles, right? So as I told you, the fluid matrix in the blood has plasma. The plasma actually is responsible for the fluidity of the blood. The plasma is again composed of water and various other components like some ions, electrolytes, mainly bicarbonate, like sodium, potassium, magnesium, chlorine. These are the different type of chlorides and ions are there, or electrolytes are there. Along with that, glucose, different type of hormones, many things are present in the blood. That I will discuss in the composition part of the plasma. And along with that, it has formed elements. The formed elements are the corpuscles. Okay. Now these corpuscles are 3 in types. And later part of the chapter, we will discuss about these all elements in the blood. That is the erythrocyte, that we generally call as RBC, the WBC, which are the lymphocyte, and the platelet, that is the thrombocyte, that is the final type of element. So these are the 3 type of formed element present in the blood or in the plasma, that floats in the plasma, right? So this is about the blood corpuscles. Now the next part is about the composition of this plasma and the specific nature of this different type of formed element that I am going to discuss. Look at the composition of the plasma. Now plasma itself is 55% of the blood. Now the total amount of blood that is present in our body, out of that 55% is the plasma. Rest is the corpuscles and other elements. Now see, in this plasma, what are the components? The composition of plasma is 92% of water. The main component of the plasma is the water. Then come the glucose, traces of other sugar apart from glucose, plasma protein. There are 3 types of plasma protein. Here I should mention the albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. Now the functions of this plasma protein I am discussing a bit later. Next come the amino acids. Various types of amino acids are there. Hormones that are mainly transported by the blood to different target sites. Next come the cholesterol, wastes, various type of cellular waste that are excreted by the cells, the lipids, the urea and various type of organic acids. So this is the composition of the plasma. Now let me discuss about the types of the plasma protein and their function and the function of the plasma. Now you can see here the plasma protein. As I told you, there are 3 types of plasma proteins: the albumin, the globulin and the fibrinogen. The albumin helps to maintain this osmotic balance of the blood. The globulin helps in defense mechanism and the fibrinogen helps in the blood clotting. Now why are this plasma protein important in the blood or in the plasma? Now this plasma protein which are present in the plasma is responsible for maintaining the viscosity of the blood. Next you see there are some active presence of the clotting factors are there in the blood plasma. Now the blood should not coagulate or clot within the blood vessel. For that there is an anticoagulant that is called the heparin. And the blood plasma without the clotting factor is called the serum. So serum is the plasma without the clotting factor. It is a straw color fluid. You see when there is a cut or a wound, okay, and after healing of this wound, after the blood stop oozing out from the cut part or the wound part, you see there is a straw fluid that comes out from that wound. That is the serum, which is devoid of the clotting factor. So this is about the plasma proteins. Now we will discuss about the function of this plasma, right? So let's discuss the function of the plasma. Now the functions of plasma. The plasma helps in the uniform distribution of heat all over the body. You know that plasma is composed of the water, mainly 92% of water. So this water uniformly distribute the heat all over the body. Plasma also provide immunity, okay, that you have already read about the defense mechanism performed by the plasma protein. The maintenance of blood pH level. Now I guess you know about the pH of the blood. What is the pH of the blood? Just find out. It's slightly alkaline. Next comes the prevention of blood loss. As I told you that blood actively causes some clotting factor. So these are the functions of the plasma. Now let's discuss about the blood corpuscles or formed elements. Now there are three types of formed elements of blood corpuscles in the blood that flows in the plasma. They are the erythrocyte or the RBC, the leukocyte, the WBC, and the thrombocytes, which are the platelets. Now first let me discuss about the erythrocyte or the RBC. Now why is this name erythrocyte? Erythro means red in color. So RBC, red blood corpuscles. So the red means erythro, means the red color. Okay, pigment bearing cells or corpuscles. Why it is red? As we have already learned in lower classes that the RBC is red in color because of the presence of the hemoglobin. Now what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin, I am writing in the short HB. So hemoglobin is a pigment or a respiratory carrier that contain iron. So hemoglobin is a iron bound pigment, iron bound globin protein is there that is present in the RBC that mainly conduct the gases. Now the size of the RBC is biconcave. That is, in order to increase the surface area, the RBC is biconcave in shape, and you know a mature RBC do not possess any nucleus, neither it possesses any cell organelles or organelles. I hope you know what is the reason behind the non-possession of the the nucleus and the various organelles in the RBC. That is to increase the surface area to bind more and more of the oxygen molecule to transport it to the required cells that want the oxygen to carry on the respiration. Now the adult human being, every adult human being should contain at least 12 to 16 gram of hemoglobin per milliliter of cube of the blood. So this is the normal value. So this is about the RBC. So RBC, you see RBC, the lifespan of RBC is 120 days, after which what happens? After which the RBC gets disintegrated. It gets disintegrated in the liver. Now in the liver, when the completion of the life cycle of RBC takes place, it goes to the liver, and in the liver it is damaged by, it is disintegrated or totally destroyed. The plasma membrane gets ruptured. And whatever components are present inside comes out. The iron part, the iron which is present in the hemoglobin in the RBC, that again recycle back to the long bone for its utilization to bind with the iron bound with the globin protein. And what happens next? This iron is reutilized, and the remaining part, that is the plasma membrane, is only left over. So this left plasma membrane goes to the spleen for complete disintegration, and this is called the ghost RBC. Ghost RBC is, see, this name is wonderful name. Ghost RBC is the RBC without any component, only the membrane of the RBC is left, and that is disintegrated totally. So in the liver the disintegration starts, and the complete disintegration takes place in the spleen. So that's why the spleen is known as the graveyard of RBC. So I hope you understood this topic. Next I will discuss about the leukocyte and then the thrombocyte. The next type of corpuscles are the leukocytes. Now leukocytes are the most active type of blood corpuscles. They are very active, and see, these leukocytes are present in both the blood as well as the lymph. I just want to say you that these leukocytes are present in both the blood and the lymph, whereas the erythrocyte or the RBC are present only in the blood, not in the lymph. Okay, now you see this leukocyte, they are the most active formed elements that travel throughout the body fluids. Now these leukocytes, the normal amount in a healthy adult individual is 6,000 to 8,000 millimeter cube of the blood. Now this lymph, okay, they have a amoeboid shape. That means it can change its shape. Now lymph the leukocytes are amoeboid in shape. Now this amoeboid shape is also an advantage. Now see, these leukocytes are the short-lived corpuscles. Now this amoeboid shaped WBC or the leukocytes, they can easily squeeze through the blood capillaries and move into, and that phenomenon is called the diapedesis. Diapedesis is the phenomenon in which the WBC or the leukocytes can squeeze easily through the blood capillary. Now these leukocytes are mainly divided into two types. The types are the granulocytes and the agranulocytes. Okay. So granulocytes and agranulocytes are the two types of WBC which are present. Now again, these are further divided. The granulocytes are further divided into the three types, that are the neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. Neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil. These are the three types of granulocytes. While the agranulocytes are two in types, that are the lymphocyte and monocyte. Lymphocytes and monocytes. So these are the two types of granulocytes. Now let's discuss about the every type of subdivisions of these granulocytes and agranulocytes. So the neutrophil. The neutrophil is the most abundant type of WBC in the plasma. About 60 to 65% of the total WBC is the neutrophil. Now neutrophil can stain both with the acidic and the basic dye. Now this WBC, as I told you, they are granulocytes. Neutrophil, basophil and eosinophil are granulocytes, as they are granules in the cytoplasm of the cells. Now they can stain both in the acidic and basic dye, and their main nature is they are phagocytic in nature. So they undergo phagocytosis when there is a invasion of the foreign pathogen in the body. Now come the eosinophil. Eosinophil is a type of granulocyte WBC, where it is about 2 to 3% of the total WBC, and this type of blood cells or the WBC are generally bilobed, having bilobe nucleus, and they generally take bright red stains with acidic dye because of the presence of coarse granules in the cytoplasm of this cell, and they are associated with all type of allergic reactions in our body. So suppose you have an allergy of dust or pollen or any type of food allergy, you see the eosinophil count of the body increases due to the allergic reaction. And it also helps in the clotting of the blood, dissolving the blood clot. Okay, so these are the various type of blood cells now of WBC. The next is the basophil. So the last type of granulocytes are the basophil, which are the least in number, which is about only 0.5 to 1% in the total, among the total WBC in the plasma. Now this type of basophil can be stained with the basic dye. Generally you can say methylene blue is the basic dye, and this type of WBC or the basophil, they secrete histamine, serotonin and heparin, some of the inflammatory that causes inflammatory reactions in the body. So next is the agranulocytes. We are going to discuss about the agranulocytes, which are 2 in number. They are the monocyte and lymphocyte. Okay, so let's discuss about monocytes and lymphocytes. So the agranulocytes are composed of 2 types. They are the monocyte and lymphocyte. These lymphocytes are having the rounded nucleus. They are the smaller in size compared to monocyte. Monocytes are the largest in among all the WBC, while lymphocytes are the smaller in size, having a rounded nucleus. And these lymphocytes generally are classified into 2 types, that is the B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. These both B and T lymphocytes help in the immune response of the body, while the monocytes, which are the largest of all WBC and the mature form of this monocyte are known as the macrophages. Now they are generally involved in the phagocytosis of the foreign invaders in the body. So the next part that we are going to study about the last type of blood corpuscles, that is the platelet, that helps in the blood coagulation. So let's understand about the blood platelets. But here I must say that the blood coagulation method, that I will teach you in the next video. So today is up to this blood corpuscles that I am going to finish this, cover this portion. Okay. So next is the platelet. Let's discuss platelets. The thrombocytes. The lifespan of these thrombocytes or platelets are only 7 to 12 days. These platelets are formed from the fragments of megakaryocyte cells, which is a type of specialized cells present in the bone marrow of the long bones. And the shape of these platelets are oval, and the amount or the total number of cells present in the blood is about 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 per millimeter cube of blood. And these platelets are formed from the megakaryocyte cell or by the process of thrombopoiesis. So thrombocytes, so thrombopoiesis. So just remember these terminologies. So in case of any type of problems in the disorders in the body, where the platelet count reduces in number than the total number, that is below 1,50,000, if it reduces in the body, then there is a severe cases where the blood clotting may be hampered. So this is about the type of blood corpuscles that I have discussed today, and I have also discussed about the introductory part of the blood. So in the next video I will discuss about the blood clotting or the coagulation and the blood groupings. So hope you have understood this topic, okay, and liked it. So bye, take care.